Got it. All right, go.
All right, I guess we're going to start first with a roll call. And Heidi, why don't we go with that? And then if there are new folks that come in, Brett, between now and then, just let us know.
Will do.
Okay, anybody from Alabama? Arizona? Arkansas? Oh, I'm batting 1,000 here. Atlanta? Baltimore, Washington?
It's here. Sorry.
Yay!
Ed Tupin.
And Mike Wangler.
Buckeye? Cascade? Central Rocky Mountain? Cincinnati Radiation Society?
Wait,
Columbia?
Yeah, Wade's here.
Wade's here. Okay, Columbia? Connecticut? Deep South? Delaware Valley? East Tennessee? Florida? Georgia? Great Lakes? Great Salt Lake? Greater New York? Greater St. Louis?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Got to go over to the other side of the page now. Hoosier?
Rick Whitman for Hoosier.
Idaho? Mid-America? Midwest? New England? New Jersey? North Carolina? North Central?
Yep.
Bryce Armstrong.
Northeastern New York? Northern California? Northern Ohio? Rio Grande? San Diego?
I'll claim that.
Okay. Savannah River? State of Texas?
Here.
Here. State of
Yay.
Texas is here.
Susquehanna Valley? Anybody from Taiwan? Virginia? Western New York? Western Pennsylvania?
Present.
Yay. All done.
Great.
Right.
Well, that certainly reflects, I guess, some of the challenges we're having with reaching out to the chapters and getting the attendance. But I want to, first of all, welcome everybody to the first virtual chapter section meeting or chapter council meeting. And this is the first kind of my first responsible role that I have as the president-elect. So Eric is happy to turn over the reins, I think, this year to me to kind of run through the agenda. And I wanted to thank those who did show up. But I also want to share some good news. The Health Physics Society, we just completed our first virtual meeting. I have a few announcements to make, and then really we want to turn this into a listening session for the chapters and give our board of directors an opportunity to also engage directly with you. So we were very successful in having our virtual meeting. I'm not going to go through my PowerPoint, but I do go through some great statistics on the PowerPoints when I get an invite to come give a virtual presentation to the chapters. So the first thing off my agenda I wanted to say is, if I have not visited your chapter yet virtually, I'm more than happy to do that. And all you need to do is send me an email, and I'm reachable on the Health Physics Society membership distribution. It's jcardarelli@hps.org. And I'm pretty flexible. I've given my talk in a lot of different ways. It can range anywhere between 30 minutes to 1 hour, depending upon what level of detail and how the agenda works. I've given 6 different chapter presentations, and they vary all over the place. So I'm very flexible, and I want to work within the chapter's normal issues. Hold on a second. I'm actually getting a call from the Western one of the chapters, Central Rocky Mountain, as I'm on this call here. So the other thing I wanted to bring to folks' attention with regard to the chapters, one of the things that we have in headquarters and the board of directors, we really look at these annual reports. One of our board of directors, Latha, did a great summary of the reports that we get from the chapters on an annual basis. And then we kind of set up kind of either a budget or we identify a strategy in our strategic plan to address comments that we get from these chapter reports. Some of the things I noticed was, I'm getting a feedback. Some of the
Yeah,
things I
sorry,
noted.
we just had two people join. We had James and Susan, and now someone named John joining.
Okay, fantastic.
Yeah, and James was having, his was, you were getting feedback from his just as he joined.
No problem. So on the chapter reports, nothing is due right now, but I just wanted to put a call out that when they do come due in the next 4 months or so, we're very interested in knowing how many meetings you have and your engagement with headquarters, because I think there'll be a big push on improving our support and services to the chapters, specifically in the area of the website and holding and conducting virtual meetings. We've learned a tremendous amount over the past year on dealing with COVID and how we can best utilize this new technology. And we really want to bring it to the chapters. So we're trying to be very flexible and dynamic, and we're all ears on that. So in the annual reports, we'll be looking for any information or suggestions you guys can add for that. Just a quick reminder, we have a couple of workshops coming up. Clemson, this will be our first annual workshop, which is kind of taken the place of our mid-year, and that's going to be sometime in May. We talked about that today in our board of directors call. The dates and the specifics will be provided later, but rumor is it's going to be focused a little bit on internal dosimetry, the practical applications of that. But beyond that, I think it's going to be in the latter part of May at Clemson, and announcements will be coming shortly. Also, we know that in July of next year, we're going to have our annual meeting to be held in Phoenix. And at this point, it's still going to be an in-person meeting unless something changes. And I will go out on a limb here and just basically ask Brett to say whether or not we are considering a hybrid approach to that meeting based upon what we've done this past year. Brett?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely want to have a virtual component to all of our future meetings, because that was such a successful thing, and because it was able to accommodate people that may not ever be able to travel to an in-person meeting. So we definitely want to have a component that is virtual for all of our future in-person meetings. So to that extent, yes, a hybrid component for sure.
And I'm going to also go out on a limb here and make an announcement from what we discussed today on our board of directors call, because we do have people still registering for the virtual meetings from this past summer. And we will likely be closing the registration date for that meeting at the end of December. So if you do register and you pay those fees, you'll have access to those materials for many, as long as necessary. Actually, that's for the PEP and the continuing education credits. You'll always have access to those. But the meeting presentations, if you're not registered by the end of December, you will not have access to the meeting presentations. Did I get that right, Brett?
Yes, but I wanted to correct one. Yes, that's perfect.
Yep.
I want to correct something from earlier, but I might have misheard. So the PDS is internal dosimetry, and the workshop in Clemson is for has an early career focus, I believe.
Yes.
Okay.
Apologies. Good catch.
Yeah, no worries.
Yep. And when's the PDS, the professional, is that's in line with the Clemson workshop?
Yeah, yeah, it's still coming together. We don't have details on that yet, but
Right.
that is what it looks like it's going to be.
Exactly. Okay. And one thing, if you all received the invitation here, president or president-elect of the chapters, I wanted to send out a reminder. We're in the process of updating our website, and as part of that, there's just a check to make sure that the officers of our chapters are actually Health Physics Society members. So this is just a courtesy reminder to let folks know that if you are in that position, and check your status of membership. If you're not a member, renew it, and then we would be good to go there. And I think the last thing I wanted to bring to folks' attention is something new that we're doing, which we haven't been doing the last year, a couple of years, and we've added it to our strategic plan. So Brett, can you bring up our strategic plan and the tab that's associated with the chapters?
Sure.
So what we're doing here is basically, in a way, you see the director on the left are the chapters, which we used for the roll call. And then we have the next column, which is the director who has taken responsibility for at least maintaining contact with the chapter and providing the direct link to the executive committee. So what we're trying now to do on a monthly basis is just get an idea on the activity. Red, yellow, green are somewhat subjective. It's really driven by how active the chapter might be and or how active the director may be with regard to reaching out. So if your chapter is red, it just means that more attention will probably be driven to find out what we can do better to get it to a status of green. This is brand new, so we're learning as we're going, but it's a way for the board of directors to kind of keep a big picture view on how we're dealing and supporting our chapters. So that I think that's something that's worthwhile of sharing. And if there is a board of director out here that's on the call here, and we have several of them that would like to speak to this specifically, I'll give them that opportunity now.
Well, Kendall, I need to defend my red. It's not my chapters, it's me. I have been negligent in reaching out to them. So I don't want anybody to be looking at this and thinking, wow, all those chapters are in bad shape. They're not.
Right.
Well,
They're not. It's me that's in bad shape.
Yeah.
To be fair to Kendall, this document was unveiled literally today. So
yes,
it's brand new.
Yeah. So these are all, and folks, so this is a tool that really keeps us accountable, but also allows us to kind of say, hey, where can we be engaged? And, I've had several things when I was doing this that were red too, and it was simply because I hadn't had time to do what I felt was responsible. So this is not an indication, as Kendall said, that the chapter is in poor condition. It may be that there's been no communication with the director, and it can go both ways. So we are trying to open our eyes more widely to find out where else we can provide better services, because that was one of the feedbacks we received several years ago in our survey. And that was one of the factors in the membership, was that they wanted to see more value. And our strategic plan is a great objective way of measuring how we are providing that kind of value and being transparent to the membership. So Brett, I want to thank you for sharing that information, and we'll probably do this tomorrow for the section tab, but we don't need to do that right now.
Sounds good.
So going back to the agenda, at this point, I don't really have any major announcements other than feel free to contact me. I'm happy to give virtual meetings just about any time. And I'm assuming there's somewhere in the budget, Brett, where if it opens up for me to travel, we're
Yes.
covered, because I don't know what the budget, what the actual budget says about the travel budget anymore.
Yep, there are some funds in the budget for that for sure.
Okay.
I was just going to make one, as we head into open discussion, I'm just going to make one comment on sort of a service that has changed, or a service that is now available to the chapters. Most of you are aware of most of the services that we have, with regard to helping with websites and things like that. But a couple of the chapters have now taken advantage of our office helping to host a chapter meeting, a virtual chapter meeting. And it's been our experience with meetings that when you get much bigger than about where we are with this meeting right now, having Zoom or a GoToMeeting is can be problematic with people not controlling their microphones or whatever. And so going to a webinar format is often the right move if you have presentations being done and things like that. So if you have questions about that, want to know some of the lessons we've learned the hard way and that we've learned the easy way, please just reach out to us at the office. You can reach out to John or to me or to Jill, any of us, and or Heidi, and we'll help you out. We've also hosted some of those meetings. So if you're really stuck and you need someone to host them, we can jump in on that too.
Great. So we've reached a point on our agenda where really we open this up to the chapters to really share any information that they would like to share with our board of directors and seek your feedback.
I'm sorry,
So
John, I had one more thing.
Oh, okay.
Then I really will shut up. Jill's a co-host. She can mute me at that point. No, but the thing is, we had I think we had 3 or 4 people join after we did the roll call. So if you joined after the roll call, could you please say your name and which chapter you're here for? So I think James was first. Got that right? Although I may have to, no, he should be able to unmute himself. And Susan.
Right.
Yep. So which thank you. And I'm trying to remember who else was there.
Robert Fairchild and
Yeah.
Susan, same chapter.
Okay.
Mid-America chapter.
Okay, got it. Thanks. I just want to make sure we had you all down.
John is North Central chapter, John Haas.
Hi.
But we
I'm
got
John.
3.
Okay.
Okay, now I really will be quiet, John Cardarelli.
Okay. Sending a text to our Rocky Mountain folks, hoping they might join us. But okay, so is there a chapter that would like to break the ice here and share their experience and or any requests for the board of directors?
I would like to share for the Mid-America chapter. We have started basically we started in August, doing a monthly lunch and learn series, combination of recorded continuing education lectures and live presentations. And so far, it seems to be working very well. We're actually getting people, same amount or more people to show up for these virtual meetings than we could get in our geographically dispersed region. And so we haven't done an on-the-ground, in-person meeting in several years, just because nobody would come. We sometimes have done it in conjunction with other society meetings, but even that wasn't real successful. But the Zoom meeting seems to have worked better than anything else.
That's great news. One thing that I think, Jama, you brought this up during our board of directors call is if you're doing these monthly meetings and you're recording them, would you like the national headquarters to be kind of a repository for some of these where we can maybe share links with other chapters that they could share that information, or do you prefer to keep that within your chapter?
We have been recording our meetings, or if we're showing a video, we put the video, you put them up on YouTube and share the link that way.
Okay.
We didn't really have any other good way to do it.
Go ahead.
I was going to ask if we could, if John Cardarelli would be willing to do an hour talk for us, do his president-elect speech for us in that format, if you'd be interested in doing something like that.
You mean by recording my presentation?
Or just come to lunch and learn, because Bob Fairchild sets that up.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Do I get with you, Susan, or with Bob after this call to schedule it?
Either one. I was just
Okay.
going to send an email to you afterwards, but
Okay, that's fine. Yes.
okay.
So, Brett, do we want to talk about this concept that we are beginning to develop, like an HPS TV concept, where we're keeping our videos and presentations, if either the PEPs, the CECs, or presentations for the meeting, how that might evolve for the chapters? Because one thing that we discussed was, if a chapter has me give a talk, then Brett will have a Zoom setup, but then the other chapters could share that link, such that if other chapters wanted to do a joint session, I could appear that way as well. So,
Yep.
Brett?
And we also did record one of your presentations. And so if someone wants you to present on a day when you can't present, we have a canned version of it already recorded. But yeah, for sure, we can use the HPS webpage. We could create a chapter repository of the videos. We would frankly probably end up doing them as unlisted YouTube videos in the same way, or we would use the system that we used for the annual meeting, where we use the JW Player system. But yes, we could absolutely host things if the chapters, if that would be beneficial to the chapters, and we can work with you if you have questions on specifics of something you're trying to do. I mean, most people have Zoom links now, or have the ability to do a Zoom thing, but when it starts to get expensive if you're trying to buy a webinar platform, and so that's where we can really kind of pitch in, or if you're trying to store and stream a whole bunch of stuff.
Who would be the point of contact for such stuff?
Yeah, Ed, you can reach out to me directly on that, and then Jill and I tend to work together to set stuff up for you. So I'm just bburke@burking.com.
So you now picked up the point of contact. Okay, Brett, get ready. Okay.
I've got a suggestion for something like that, because not everybody is interested. Not all of the chapter meetings are going to be things that we're going to draw people to. I mean, we have a couple meetings that we've recorded that nobody except people in our area is going to be interested in seeing. You know, you might want to just do a point of contact, be a point of contact for point of contacts for these things, and have a library listing. I hate to say it that way, but I mean,
No, I
how
understand.
many people are interested in regulatory updates for 3 states, you know?
Right.
Yeah,
When you live in California, you're not interested in Kansas. So.
Yeah, but we can store those for you if you want to use them later, or have them in such a way that you know those 3 states can use them later. Oh,
And let me throw out.
Good.
Let me throw out the flip side of that, and that is that in Baltimore, Washington, we've actually had some pretty good success at bringing in some international speakers to our technical meetings that we have in the evening. I got to really give kudos to Mike Wangler, our current president-elect, for managing to get speakers from Japan and Israel and Europe to speak virtually at some of our meetings, and we've tried to share this with others. And I know that you know, we in Washington sometimes have something of an embarrassment of riches, but just to broaden your horizons on where you might go to look for speakers if you want to have technical meetings. If you don't have to have them travel, you know, Zoom is relatively speaking cheap.
Yeah.
So Ed, do you share? I'm on your list too, and I see that. But if you do bring in one of these heavyweight speakers from the international community, because I know that the Colorado State folks have done that as well with Fukushima speakers. Because it's Zoom, can you share that, or would you share that with like HPS so that maybe we can do an email blast to the various chapters and then it would downstream to the members that way? Is that something that the Baltimore would be willing to do when you get these big speakers?
This is Mike Wangler. The short answer is yes. We try to, one of the things I've done is unilaterally is add people to our contacts list, not our members list, to our contacts list that might have an interest in our programs. And so once they're in on the contact list, they get all the blasts that we send out to our contacts and our members. I don't know if Brett is on it. I know, John, you are.
I am.
Because
I am on it.
Okay, so we have no problem with disseminating that wider if you think it might be appropriate.
Great.
I think that's something we should consider.
I was actually just having a sidebar conversation with Brett. With the chapters that are represented, obviously Baltimore's, Washington's open to this. Are other chapters open to maybe, are they interested in posting their meetings to a broader audience? Because I know Columbia out in Washington State has been doing some extraordinary things, and I'm still on their list, so I get their information. And I think that's one way that we could reach some of our members that aren't near any major chapters, especially since we're doing these by Zoom. And I was just wondering if chapters would be interested in us looking at a way to maybe have a like one page for like chapter meetings that people could go and link on and click to register for the chapter meeting that's nowhere near them, but is of interest to them. Is that something chapters are interested in?
And this is Wangler again. And if there's some way that we can help you, I would be more than happy to do it. Being semi-retired, I have an embarrassment of time on my hands to pay attention to local chapter activities. And so, you know, I've been trying to find meetings, ICRP, IAEA, NCRP meetings that, even National Academy of Science meetings that people might be interested in. So we've got our program pretty much planned out through January, February. Oh, I forgot. We're also going to have some brown bag lunches, which we were going to name to Robert lunch and drawn a blank, lunch and learn or something like that. And but I'm still working on the speakers for like March, April, and June. So if there's something, someone might want to suggest that I look into outside the Baltimore, Washington area, just let me know. I'll be more than happy to see if we can put it into play.
This is JMO. One of the things that to Kendall's question is, I think that yes, there are absolutely other chapters. One of the questions I got was, are there other chapters out there that want to partner with us for some virtual meetings? And I think maybe if they want to do partnerships, we could have a chapter POC's email list, and then when somebody wants to reach out and do collaborations, we could do it that way, or we could do the recorded sessions and have that hosted. Lots of different ways that this could be approached.
I wanted to follow up with that, Gemma, and what Kendall also mentioned. And again, I'm going to reach out to Burke and Associates here. How quickly can we get a web page up that's dedicated to the chapter's virtual meetings?
So the good news is that I'm texting with Barbara, but that she isn't on here as far as I know. So I can make all kinds of promises for her. So they can do that really fast though. Just if we're talking about a chapter page, and the reason I'm texting with her already is because I was letting her know that we're recording this, and this might be a useful tool for all the chapters that couldn't join today. And this is the kind of thing that could also be on that page. There are already pages dedicated to society support that have resources for chapters. So I think what we're really talking about is adapting one of those to have these kinds of lists and these kinds of resources, and also making people aware that it exists. So there, usually what happens about this point in this meeting every year is people start asking for things that we're already doing, but they have no way to know that we're doing. And so I think both for the chapters, it would be nice to send out an email or maybe put something in the newsletter even, describing some of the things and resources that are available to chapters and pointing them towards those links. Some of the resources that we've talked about today, but also maybe even, John, I know you're planning some extended board meetings coming up, but since the board members are working with the chapters, having an agenda item on there for the board members where we could walk them through what resources are available so they can help answer those questions over time, because there's turnover in the chapters, et cetera.
Yeah, and I would, I guess the right approach would be for the chapters, if they are going to be doing a virtual meeting, if you don't know who your board of director liaison is, we need to make that connection first, but make sure that they're on your distribution list, and then we can rely on that board of director to make sure that it gets posted to the HPS website, so that you know, we work through the appropriate chain of command per se within our own organization. But I think that would be really helpful if folks, and the key thing I've also noticed on our website is it can get aged real quickly. And once it gets aged, no one goes to it anymore because they just don't have confidence that's being updated. And I know that we are in the process of doing a variety of different things to our website. So we hope that you will start seeing some fresh new views of it. And this is one of the services I think that, you know, it's coming out of our discussion right now. I think something that's tangible that we can bring to the membership and to chapters. So are there other thoughts and comments from the chapters?
I guess, Brett, get back to what you said, do both. Both put it in a newsletter and send out the emails to particularly to chapter leaderships.
Yep.
And another thing that would probably be useful as part of that, call it a chapter resources page, if you will, might be a place to put speakers on, you know, various technical topics. I know I've done a bunch of stuff both for our chapter and for the Virginia chapter and for the other kind of area chapters, doing it via web virtually. I got no problem doing California. Travel costs are the same. So, you know, if anybody needs a speaker, I'm available. I've got a bunch of stuff I've done that some people have heard, some people haven't. I suspect that there are a bunch of others that, particularly folks that Mike has leaned on for our chapter meetings, and I've leaned on as past president, you know, as president and president-elect and program chair for our chapter, that would be more than happy to speak on various and sundry things.
That's a great idea, Ed. So what I'm hearing is another page of volunteer speakers that are willing to go and speak at other chapters, and your area of expertise that you could speak on. That way, any chapter, if they're looking for someone, can pull it out from our own resources.
Yeah, I mean, we all know people who do stuff, but we don't all know everybody's people who do stuff. And so, you know, the old saying around Washington is an expert is somebody who's more than 100 miles from home with a fancy briefcase. These days, you know, you can be easily 100 miles from wherever, and you don't need a fancy briefcase, just an iPad.
That's a great idea.
Just a quick update. Barbara just texted me. I told her we were assigning her some things while she's not here. She just texted back that she has met with the web ops team and is suggesting the idea of a chapter resource page that she would like to create. I said, we're going to be fine. This is going to work out okay.
Excellent. Other chapters? Is our strategic plan meeting your kind of expectations or thoughts with regard to where our board of directors and the society's leadership Are you guys comfortable? Would you like more information on that? We're trying to be very transparent in what we're doing for the society, and any feedback on that would be helpful.
And when was the last revision to the strategic plan?
We revise that strategic plan every year. In fact, we just came up with a brand new one for the fiscal year 2021.
Yeah, and actually, if you're interested, I think I can share my screen again real fast. We won't do a strategic plan overview necessarily, but the board goes over this. This is the A3 is the implementation of the strategic plan, which is reviewed. The strategic plan is reviewed and revised every year, and then we have each of the goal areas is broken out with board members as responsible. The core services are all listed, and as you can see, every item for every component is reviewed every month by the whole board, just to make sure we're on track and to see who needs help with which pieces and all of that. So it's really a very nice system now, and we have Mike Lewandowski. Many of you know him. He's your strategic plan advisor, and he is the pivot point for all of that stuff for the strategic plan.
Yeah, and a copy of the strategic plan is right on our website.
Yeah,
and
if
you
you
can
go
go back and see the one last year and this year. And when Brett talks about goals A, B, and C, those are explicitly stated in our plan. And then the A3 spreadsheet is really, it breaks it down into tangible tasks that we can hold people accountable for and measure our progress.
That might be a good subject for an overview presentation via this sort of format, particularly for chapter leadership, so that they kind of have a better feel for what National is doing, or at least, you know, what National thinks they're planning on trying to do.
Well, I can say that when I give my talk, half of my talk is exactly the strategic plan. And I kind of go through, and I think what I'll do is expand that a little bit to get more detailed, Ed, because I think it's a good point. And that's why today I wanted to share with you, we've just added the status of the chapters with regard to it. So things are, we are listening, and we're trying to implement these things as we get a little bit better at you know, kind of figuring out who's responsible and how best to do it in the most efficient way. So,
yeah, and I'm gonna steal your wording a little bit, because this year has taught us that we don't have a plan. We have things that we're thinking about planning to try to do, which is your phrasing. This year has been very tough on solid plans.
Hey, if they're useful, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, for example, I mean, what a wildly successful one was Mike Mahaffey had as one of his specific items to try to do one presentation from the annual meeting in 2020 virtually, so that we could see how that went. Well, we ended up doing the entire meeting virtually, and Mike really overachieved on his item. So yeah, but we also had many things that we couldn't do, right, because of everything that's happened. So, yep.
Without doing any work on it, so that was pretty good. So I like it when you can excel without doing anything.
We all strive.
Greatly exceeded expectations. Did virtually nothing.
Any other comments from chapters?
I have been pushing us doing much more virtually, so I think there's been a lot of things said here that are good. I do think we need possibly on the board just to step back just a little bit, and so that we have a plan for what we're doing and work closely with the board. So, I mean, with the chapters, but it all sounds good. Great, actually.
Do any of the board of directors have anything that they want to add? we've heard from 3 of them so far.
I just wanted to let people know that may not know about in February of 2022, we're planning to have the first ever regional Congress of IRPA in St. Louis. So you'll be hearing more from us, and anybody that's willing, I'm sure there'll be work for people to do. So just stay tuned for that. But we,
Well, that reminded me, Mike, and this is a good one to share with the chapters. We recently heard back from IRPA regarding their revised statement on the R in ALERA, and they have revised their statement based upon input from associated societies around the world, and now are reaching back out for a second round of comments. So I did send that out to the previous committee and section chairs and all the board of directors, and I'll be putting a notice in the newsletter so that if there are chapters or individuals who would like to have an opportunity to comment on it, they'll send it back to me. I'll coordinate, put the comments together in a package, and then I'll work it through the Scientific and Public Information Committee, which is the official voice for the society, and then we will get that sent off. The due date on that would be January 10th, so it's a quicker turnaround time, and the SMP and IC will need a couple weeks to kind of go through and figure out how we're going to reconcile any conflicts and how best to present it for the society. So thanks, Mike, for reminding me to tell folks about that, and look for the newsletter announcement on that coming out in December.
So, Mike, this is Manuel Diaz from St. Louis. I'll take you on that. We actually been discussing that within our ad hoc board right now, and how can we get involved on the IRPA meeting in St. Louis. So if there's anything we can partner with the rest of the chapters, we will love to do that.
We definitely want that. Who was that just talking? I didn't get your name.
Manuel Diaz.
Definitely, I will be in touch, okay? And Charles Wilson, who's in Missouri now, he's going to be working with you. I think he's going to join your chapter, and so he'll be working with us, and he's going to be our contact. So we will. We definitely need to work with you for to help with the if you organizing some meeting.
Yeah, Charles and I have been talking about it. We reorganizing pretty much the chapter in the membership. So we're just planning ahead, and that is something that he brought up, and we definitely would like to get involved.
We'll definitely do it. And by the way, just so I can make sure I keep everything legal, Latha is your is the director over the St. Louis chapter. So she'll also be involved in this. So we should be good on that. And we appreciate your help in advance. Thank you.
Great.
Ms. Jan Braun, just a comment was brought up earlier about the annual reports. If you haven't done one, if a chapter hasn't done one, you don't necessarily have to wait to be told to do it. You can actually go out and do it. Susan has done that. And I thank Susan for getting that filled. I don't know, Brett, I'm going to put you on the spot. Can you show where people go to submit their chapter report? Is that too tough? That's pushing it. I'm asking for too much.
No, it's right on the web.
Yeah, the question is, yeah, so let me get in there. The only thing is, I think it only appears for those who have chapter responsibilities, and so I don't think. So I think what's going to happen here, I'll share my screen.
No, I mean where the chapters actually go submit.
Yes, I'll just describe it because my computer is acting wonky. Okay. So if you go to the members only section, right? You'll see there's these tiles and icons. It says benefits of membership. And then the second one on the right says resources for you. And under that, there's all these icons, and it'll be different depending on who you are within HPS. So for me, because I'm not a chapter leader, I don't have the little tab that lets me submit. That lets me submit chapter
Kendall's
reports.
trying to share.
There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yes.
Thank you. Right. So I don't have those. I don't have chapter and section reports, but you do, and others will that are leaders of chapters.
And you have to be logged in to see that resources for you box on the right that has all the other, yes.
Yeah, under the members only.
Right. If you were not logged in, you would only see the benefits of membership. That's what you would see. And then click, you pick your chapter.
Yeah.
So Brett, who has access to this, and that's coming from where? So what do the chapters need to make sure they have updated so that so the right people have the right access to this?
Yeah. So I'm going to in turn put Heidi on the spot because I
share the wealth.
So basically the information for who has access to the chapter report is based on the information in the current chapter report. So it's president, president-elect, secretary, and if you have an executive officer, if you need somebody, let's say that the chapter hasn't done a report in several years and those officers are no longer there or no longer available, send Craig Little or myself an email and we can get you added to the chapter report to submit a new one.
And Heidi, just to keep things simple, can we have them send any questions through their board of directors?
Yep. Yes, they absolutely can.
And that would help strengthen that communication and also keep us in line with our new reporting strategy for the chapters.
Most today. Still am.
I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you for doing a better job of sharing than I was.
Kendall, that's great. Thank you.
Sorry to take over. But
oh, that was weird.
I would be a little bit remiss if I didn't give our current president an opportunity, a cameo to make any comments. Eric, you have any thoughts?
Nothing in particular. I think you guys have done a great job, and the key is for the chapter leadership to if they need some help, to reach out. There's plenty of help out there. I've been a chapter president many years ago myself, and it just takes a little doing, and it can be a lot of fun. You meet a lot of people and stuff. So the fact that we have to do a lot of stuff virtually now makes it a little more of a challenge, but still can be very rewarding. So I appreciate it.
Yep. Thanks. Are there any other comments or questions from the chapters?
Yeah, I've got another one too. If we jump back a little bit to this workshop, mid-year meeting, whatever you want to call it, are the chapters still getting some sort of a stipend from National for hosting one of these newfangled? I guess it's quite kind of a replacement for the mid-year or the new mid-year or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think we're experimenting and trying new forms of meetings, and so I would think that for ones where the local chapter is involved, I would think the answer would be yes. But yeah, we haven't, things are a bit up in the air at the moment, but I would think that the answer is yes.
It's another thing to look at. Yes.
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 We've been sort of on the hot seat here in Baltimore, Washington lately. With two mid-years sandwiched around a almost annual meeting.
You guys were great. You guys are great, Ed.
Any other feedback from our chapters?
So don't forget.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to thank you at least for showing up and participating in this. I think the next one will have more attendees, we hope, and we got a great attendance here. So if there's any other comments, we can go around the horn, or I'll just open it up one last time.
I think
Go
Mike
ahead.
Mahaffey has his hand up.
Oh, Mike, I can't see you on you. Mike, you had something?
It's not my real hand, it's my web hand. You probably can't see that either. I just wanted to remind people to vote, and feel free to vote for me or Kendall for treasurer.
Yeah. Very good. I totally forgot that. I'll have to add that to the agenda tomorrow.
There's also I believe director is open for vote this year. So I'm actually kidding. You vote for who you feel like you want to or should, but don't forget to vote. For Kendall, myself, I don't know. So whatever.
Me.
We've seen that voting can come. We've seen that
Kendall
voting
and
can come down to small numbers. So right. So it's it's important.
Kendall recommendations for each other. So I don't know what that says, but anyway.
Jama has her hand up, her virtual hand, her web hand.
My web hand. I just want to make a plug for awards for this year. I just asked the chapters to go ahead and start considering. I know you guys got some great people out there who are doing great work despite of all the challenges, and be thinking right now about what those award submissions are going to look like and who you want to submit. So we really want to recognize a few people out there.
Jama, is the summary of what those awards are, which ones are you talking about? All the ones that HPS puts out?
Exactly, the annual awards.
Okay, and those are easily found on the website, right?
Correct.
Okay.
And if need be, I put together a list with me and another person. We put together a list of all of the emails for all of the chapters and sections, and we're going to be sending out a blast email with a link to that information so that people can have an idea about what those awards are and potentially who they should consider for those awards.
Perfect. Excellent.
And feel free to use us for email blasts out to the whole membership anytime you'd like as well.
Excellent. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Okay. Any other comments?
And say, so if we have, if Mike arranges one of our spectacular technical meetings and we want to share the information about that, we should target Brett with our announcement, and hopefully he will then rebroadcast. Is that the way it should work?
It could work, but I would prefer that you go through your board of director, and we're trying to, and that would be Jama.
Okay, Jama, we know where to find you.
That's right.
And we're also going to be putting together this resource page where we'll be able to advertise all the upcoming chapter meetings as well. So
but if all else fails, Ed, you have Brett, you have myself. We're always willing to help out. So.
Well, again, I put it more in the nature of, when Mike and some of our other folks go to the hard work of finding some of these people, from IAEA and RERF and whatnot, that we would really like to be able to share this work with a wider audience rather than just keep it within our chapter.
Yep.
I mean, we've got the NCRP president right down the street is a pretty regular attendee at our meetings, and when it was John Boyce, he was always happy to speak. People saying, "Oh, I can't approach John Boyce to talk." I said, "You better give him the opportunity to say no. Don't say no for him."
Yeah.
And I know he's not on the call, but the Colorado Rocky Mountain chapter, the Health Physics Society, works closely with the Colorado State University, and I have their schedule of presenters as part of their seminar that they give out, and he was kind enough to share that with me, and I I can't say that we can share that yet because that's part of a Colorado State University program. But they got speakers from Fukushima coming up that would be very interesting, I think, to many folks. But you know, if he's willing to open that up a little bit, I'll ask him. But I doubt that because it's part of the Colorado State University program. But that's where he's able to share to specific individuals who have a very strong interest. And there might be a way of, at least if you're interested, I could put you in contact and he can maybe give you individual access as opposed to a blast to the entire membership. So we can work this a lot of different ways. So, well, I want to thank everyone for showing up. I hope you found this helpful, useful, and we certainly look forward to, as Jan brought up, fill out those chapter reports. They do mean a lot to us, and we will be getting back together pretty soon with regard to, it won't be another year because the next chapter council meeting hopefully will be in Phoenix in July. And if it, yes,
fingers
cross
crossed.
our fingers.
Everybody
So,
get your vaccinations.
yeah. But keep your eyes and ears open and often go back to the website. We are updating that on almost a weekly basis. So we're really trying to improve that. We know that that is the new means of communicating with our folks. And another plug, the Health Physics Society this year has gotten very much engaged in the public information side, where we have an Instagram account, a LinkedIn account, a Twitter account, you name it. Dr. Cafferty, who's the chair of that, is doing a fantastic job. And we have a new video that's coming out for the non-ionizing radiation 5G cell phone issues. And there's one that's being reviewed now, a video on radon. So a little plug for her, that I just wanted to let the chapters know that we are still engaged, and we're here to share information. So any other comments? Well, with that, I guess I'll call for an adjournment of this meeting.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brent.
Have a good
All right.
Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Happy Thanksgiving, folks.